Hey everybody, and welcome back to another iiRcade Gamedaze. I'm your host, Michael, executive producer and director here at iiRcade. How's it going? It's been a while, right? So happy New Year, first of all. It's our first stream back for the new year, so that's the first thing, right? We've been gone for a while. I swear we didn't die. Colin's still alive and kicking in Florida. I promise you that, so don't worry on that. He'll be back soon enough too as well. I know you haven't seen him in quite a while. So as well as Zhang might pop in at some point too. Not today necessarily, but on the upcoming shows, right? We'll see what's going on. So let me see what's going on in the chat. Hello, everybody. I see everybody's here. Welcome back. Got a couple hundred of you, which is cool between the different streams. So cool. Thanks for tuning in, looking at my ugly mug. We are here to talk iiRcade games, especially the brand new release today, Hypoxia 2, right? So if you haven't checked it out yet, Hypoxia 2 is available now on the store. Hypoxia 1, you won't see on the store right now. So just as an FYI on that one too. But yeah, Hypoxia 2 is a new shooter for us, right? So, and it's both, it is twin stick, but it is both vertical and horizontal. So unlike most shmups that choose one or the other, Hypoxia 2 does go between both settings, which is awesome. So we'll go over the controls, gameplay, and things like that in just a little bit here. We'll show that off. Let's see here. Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Thank you, Prince Malk. All right. Yeah, we can kick things off, right? Yeah, so no, everybody thought that we were going to go back to CES this year too. Of course not. We showed off these beautiful gold cabs you see behind me last year at CES. That was a big thing. CES is more for hardware than software for the most part. So we just chose not to go this year too, right? It's a big expense for a company like ours, especially. It costs a pretty penny to get on that floor at the booth that we had last year. So just so you know. Yeah, we don't like to wait it out in hotel rooms and things. So I like to either be on the floor or we're not going. So we just didn't go this year because we have no new hardware to really show off currently. So we've got other hardware cooking, of course, from outside developers, right? So, of course, we still have the light guns coming shortly. We'll talk about that coming up later on the show, maybe. We can touch on that a little bit, as well as, of course, the GRS products, the spinners, the trackballs, and some other things potentially, right? Coming down the line, still in the plans, still in the works, just not available quite yet today. I know you're waiting. I know you've been patient. We appreciate it. So, King of Shmups, yeah. So we got a lot of shmups on the cabinets. Of course, we've got pretty much the entire R-Type series now, especially with R-Type Leo, fulfilling that one too, along with some great ones. Of course, Gunbird comes with all of your systems on the iiRcade initially too. Gunbird's a fantastic title. I didn't even know about it before working here, but it's now one of my favorite arcade games, which is great. I am a shmup junkie. Truxton 2, absolute madman for, Truxton 2 for, I will go at that game for hours and hours and hours. Not just Truxton 2, but Truxton 1 more so, actually, without the continues. So I like Truxton 1. It's a little bit more of a hardcore gamer's experience. I like Truxton 1 a little bit better. Anyway, tons of shmups for you to choose from, including our new one, Hypoxia 2. So I know we've got questions and things like that, too. We'll get to those questions later in the chat. But let's show off some Hypoxia 2 first, especially since it has a couple different controller options, a lot of different things for this game. There's a lot going on in it. So let me bring it up here for you. There we go. Let me make myself smaller, make the game bigger. All right. I've got my QA in the background here. Go ahead and kick it off, Doug. Let's show us the gameplay. So, buddy Doug and QA here's playing. So, shout out to Doug. You can't see me behind the camera right now. But he'll be doing the gameplay for you today so that I can be hands-free and narrate for you for once. It's a great movie. So, he's going through the tutorial right now a little bit. You can see, of course, the buttons. Over the buttons a little bit first and foremost. Doug, can you go ahead and pull up the options real quick for me? So, yep, go ahead, confirm. You can skip the tutorial. That's fine. We'll get gameplay. There we go. So we got all these cool options for you. First and foremost, let's go over the controls, right? So yes, I think Kev Gred already said in the chat, it needs twin stick. It has twin stick, so it's not by default. So the control scheme that we show up by default is arcade style A, right? So that's the default. However, you can do twin stick in this game. Since this game shoots forward, backwards, left, right, up, and down. Yeah, so forward, backwards, up, and down, as well as it's 8-directional, right? So you can actually do that controlled shooting with the right joystick if you do twin stick mode, right? So you can do that. So we've got used to twin stick now too. I think Doug is doing twin stick gameplay right now. Doug, let's actually go back to the menu real quick too. So not just the controls. Scroll back. There we go too. So I did want to show off. You can see there's other options in here. Besides the stats, you've got tons of options beyond that. Astronauts, which is great too. So you can actually play as different ships and there's different mission types there. There we go. The compendium, of course, storing all of your knowledge picked up throughout the game. You've got journal entries as well, too, for data that you're going to pick up throughout the game. So this game actually has a pretty complex and long, lengthy campaign, which is great. So this is not like a normal sort of arcade-style shmup. It is still an arcade-style shmup, however, as gameplay goes. But it isn't like a two-player sort of style game for co-op. This is a single-player campaign sort of based game with also an arcade mode on top of that, too. So kind of questions stuff we're missing in the chat. Can't hear the audio of the game. I can hear me over the game audio. You're down. Cool. Can you hear me now? You good? Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm going to take it as it's better. All right. Technical difficulties. Here we go. We do it live, folks. We're playing the arcade mode. Yeah, so like Jolly Green's saying here, the arcade mode is just a totally different mode of the game, too. The campaign, I highly suggest you play the campaign first before the arcade mode. However, dealer's choice, right? So as you unlock more stuff through the game, you can unlock more stuff for the arcade mode, different power-ups and things like that, too. Different ship types, mostly cosmetic for the most part, right? So it's cool. Lots of different options for this game, too. That's why we like it here. And, of course, it is both. You can see horizontal right now, and later on in the levels, you can choose to go into vertical modes, right? So there's certain parts of the levels that are vertical versus horizontal. So this game sort of, it's newer age, of course. However, it is kind of comparable to something like Hellfire, which lets you cycle between weapons and shoot up, down, left, and right throughout the game. This game does fire in all directions, right? So, and you do pick up different things. As far as attacks go, you do have your hyper beam that you can check. Doug, can you press? If you picked it up yet? Okay. Anyway, we'll show it off. It's there in the campaign right away in the tutorial. When you play the tutorial, you do have like a giant beam shot, along with you've got a burst fire that you can use on top of your regular fire, which is also what you might call rapid fire. So there's no need for accessibility options in this because it's already built into the game, which is great. Cool art style. It's actually a really nice art style for pixel art. I like this art style a lot too. Shout out to Lilimo Games. They did a great job on this game. Fantastic artwork, and the soundtrack is banging too. So I love. There we go. There's your horizontal to vertical, right? So it's going vertical now. So, but yeah, the soundtrack in this game is amazing too. Like the soundtrack alone is great for this game, and you can actually play through all those sounds in all that music in the soundtrack options in the. Let's see here. Much better. Cool. Yeah. Okay. My volume's good. Okay. How do you access the options menu? Cool. Yeah. So kind of different, right? So the main menu doesn't actually really have the options. Maybe that'll change later on down the road in an update. Who knows, right? For just ease of access, right? However, during gameplay, you can access all the options right there. So you press player 1 or player 2 start to bring up the options menu. There you go. And that's how you access it, right? So you can change all of your controls there too. Whatever type of control scheme that you pick, it will automatically load that in the next time that you reboot the game and things. It'll always save that over, so you can always change it though anytime you want on the fly. Using twin sticks makes it hard to use special and boost. Yeah, so again, we did leave the buttons duplicated on both the left side as well as the right side. They are the same. So like player 1A is also player 2A. They do match, so pick and choose whatever feels comfortable for you. There's not true button mapping in this. However, you can always rearrange it a little bit as far as the control schemes go. Let's see. If you find it super hard, maybe it gets changed down the road, right? So let us know. Give us that feedback. You can always relay that to the developer themselves too and see what goes down. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. Thanks, Rainwater. Yeah, so this game is amazing. This is a great game, especially we're excited to kick the year off with this game too, especially because I like my shmups, right? So here we go. But again, being both a horizontal and vertical and just kind of a different style of shoot 'em up game is why this game is great. On top of that, the story and the text, the writing in this game is really well done. So do read through the journal entries if you're kind of a lore junkie like I am. They're good. They're really, really good. So it's fun. It's got its cool, unique flavor text and stories all throughout the game. So I'm going to collect those things as you go and progress through the campaign, as well as the arcade mode and the boss rush mode. Well, arcade mode is two different modes. Boss rush as well as your rough booster. That's what I'm looking for, my hyper theme. All right. Any other questions on Hypoxia 2 that I can answer right now immediately? just watch this beautiful gameplay. Huh? Watch the trailer all you want to. Play the game yourself. That's really what it's here for. Yeah, I dig the soundtrack a lot in this game. Definitely try the campaign. Again, I highly suggest going to the campaign first before you even do the arcade modes, in my opinion. But again, totally dealer's choice. Play your way. All right, move on for now. Right. Hypoxia 2, so we want to show off some gameplay with that, show off the different control schemes, especially since it's confusing, right? Because there's 3 different control schemes, and one of them is twin stick, even though we don't list that on our instruction screen. They are found within the game options, right? So we do list it on the instruction screen that it has twin stick, but it has other options, and it's not default, right? So yeah, ready to add this one, and we'll leave it there for now, right? So Hypoxia 2, pick it up. It's $9.99 on the store right at the top today. So there you go. You can also see that in the attract mode. I think I saw somebody ask about if Hypoxia 2 has its own attract mode. It does not. It has a bang soundtrack that plays the entire time in the main menu, but maybe updates later on too. Maybe we can talk to Lily Mo about adding an attract mode, but no promises on that too. It's a modern game. Not every modern game has an attract mode, right? Like an arcade game. So maybe today, for different reasons, right? There you go. All right. So let me bring this off the screen real quick too and get to the rest of things. All right. Thanks, Doug. You're good to go. You leave my QA to go. QA, bless their souls. They're getting through Operation Wolf some more with the joystick. So have fun. Thanks, Doug. So Hypoxia 2, yeah, first game of the year. We're excited about that too. Of course, I'm going to kick the year off with a shmup, right? Yes, not Ninja Baseball Batman. I know you guys are asking for that. Don't worry, it's still coming. It's in the works. Ninja Baseball Batman just needs a little bit more love for a couple different reasons, right? So we've got to get these games working the way that they're intended to, and before we release them, right? Plus, we got to get you 4-player online for Ninja Baseball Batman, right? So we've tested it ourselves in-house. However, I got to get you the build to do 4-player online because that is still a feature that is coming up very shortly in the next system update, along with light guns potentially and maybe accessories, right? So we'll see about the system update. It's coming soon. We'll let you know everything that's included in that system update when it's released, but do plan on having that shortly, probably before the end of the month. So, all right. Other questions here. Is this on other platforms? You'll have to take a look. I know what platforms this game is on, though, yes. But more importantly, it's on the iiRcade because it's a shoot 'em up, and shoot 'em ups belong to be played in an arcade atmosphere. So there you go. It's my opinion. I'll stick to it. I played the arcade first and got smoked. Yeah. Yep, that's about right. So it is really good to do the campaign, at least a little bit of the campaign first, and it does have a save slot for you. So, and it's fun too. The campaign, you go through the story, but you do go from like planet to planet. And you can actually choose on the map. There is a New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus in this too. So the game does get more challenging and with additional things going on when you do New Game Plus as well too. So there is more content than just the initial thing that you see up front. So keep that in mind. So this game is, yes, it's well worth the $10, and if not a lot more, honestly, just for content wise, it's great. Let me see here. I need another sale. Sales are over for now. I think I do sales all year round. You know me. It wouldn't be special if I had things on sale all the time. What do you think this is? JCPenney's? We don't do this. We have a department store. This is why we did 2 cycles of the sale for game sales this time through. The cabinets actually are still on sale, by the way. I can mention that. I'll be a good producer today. The cabinets are still on sale for the same prices after the holidays. We've kept through that for the new year so far. How long that will stick around, I can't promise you right now. However, it is still there. So again, I'm not going to FOMO you into buying cabinets. However, they are still on sale. We do have a very limited supply of the gold. I think they're pretty much gone. The golds that are left would be, who I believe, I want to say Dead Cells and Space Invaders. I could be wrong on that. Whatever's still up on the website, still what's there. As well as the standard editions. There's Retromania, some Dragon's Lair. I think there's 3 original standard units left, if you like that, for the lower cost too, for the 64 gigabytes. And I think that's about it as far as inventory goes for what's still on sale right now. So there you go. Got my Black Edition gold. Love it. Glad you like a Jolly Green. So Jolly Green. Shout out to Jolly Green too, because I met him in person before too a couple times. Super nice guy, and he truly is the Jolly Green Giant. Other than not being green, if you were green, you would be the Hulk. Honestly, big guy. It's a great guy. Let's see here. Who do I think will win the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm from Pennsylvania, born and raised, and if those of you who know me, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, even though, I'm not a super big football guy, but I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm glad that my team is doing crazy good this year, and the only game that I watched, they lost. So I probably shouldn't even watch the Super Bowl if they go, just because I'm clearly a bad luck charm or a curse upon my own team, so it is what it is. I'll have to watch the replays, I guess. I'll wear my ugly Christmas sweater. My Eagles ugly Christmas sweater I have, too. I've actually worn on the stream before. For Thursday Night Footballs, that's when I do it usually. But yeah. I just want the Eagles to beat the Cowboys. Yeah. It's just what happens when you throw a game. Anyway, moving on from that. It is game days. We can talk about games, right? So I won't bring you into that realm of things. Can we get more title releases? Who knows, right? So, again, I cannot promise anything announced. The only games still announced right now. Ninja Baseball Batman, clearly we've talked about. Operation Wolf for Light Gun, specifically. And, of course, Operation Wolf, even though it is a light gun game, will work with a joystick and buttons, which is exactly what my QA is still testing out again right now. God bless their souls, because that game is hard. If you've never played Operation Wolf, it's difficult. The second level specifically, there's 6 levels in that game to play through before you reach the end. And the second level is a brutal task to get through. So have fun. I'm excited for it. And they're banging their heads against the wall right now. If they're watching this right now, probably just cursing me out because I'm making them do this because they have to get through the game. So there you go. But yes, it's a little bit easier with light gun. Clearly, it's a light gun game. It's not necessarily meant to be played with a joystick. However, it does work just fine with the joystick, and they're playing right now. So you can make some deep progress in that game with a joystick. So how competitive you'll be compared to a light gun, we're going to find out. We're going to find out on the leaderboards, right? So I'm pretty sure that they have leaderboards. I need to double check on that too. My mind is all over the place. It's Q1 for me. It's coming off of the sales of Q4 craziness and into plannings and stuff, or out of plannings and still into executing for the new plans, right, for the new year. It's good times. It's good times. I'm a very busy guy. My brain is scattered a little bit all over the place. So if I seem a little scatterbrained, I do apologize. And I know I talk a little fast, so I can slow it down a little bit today. Let's bring it back. What else we got going on in this chat here too? What other kind of questions we got? Any other questions I can answer for Hypoxia as well too? Not a lot of questions on Hypoxia. You don't typically get a lot of questions on the games other than control schemes and general stuff like that too, right? There are no leaderboards for Hypoxia. Whoever asked that, I think I missed that before. There are no leaderboards for Hypoxia, so there you go. It is local only. Let's see here. Just same as other platforms. Let's see here. Other questions that I can get to and answer. Let's see here. What else can I get to in this chat? How's my customer service doing after the holidays? They're fine. They're live. So, yes, be patient still with them. There's always a lot going on. Especially with new users. With new users, new products and things, you tend to get a lot of things that aren't just not quite ironed out yet. The user experience to a T the way that we'd like them to, so they're not quite well enough explained clearly because we get people ask about them sometimes. So I get a lot of questions that are very easy to ask, but we do get bogged down in customer service due to that as well too, that are like very easy solutions that, the sky seems to be falling on their machine, but truly it's like, oh no, it's, one little thing. We tweak it real quick and you're good to go. So yeah, we get a lot of that this time of year over the holidays and stuff. But yeah, please do be patient. We do see them. We get to all of them as fast as possible. Let me see what else is going on here. Who brings another company into my chat? How dare you? No, it's fine. We all have fun here. Let's see, same question. Let's see here. I can't get to these questions for now. Keep in mind, a lot of things planned this year. A lot of things planned and still being executed as well too from last quarter, right? So, and of course, and quarter before, right? So Q3 too. Q3 2022. Things take time. Software takes time. Hardware takes time. So keep that in mind too. We are very small. very small team. We do our best, but just takes a little bit of time. New gold skins this year. I don't know. Again, I literally during the sales said we don't know when we're going to get new gold stock in. We don't know what we're going to be doing with that this year. Well, technically speaking, I do. However, just like I said over the holidays when these things were on sale, we get them while they're hot. I'm not trying to FOMO you. We don't know when we will get more and if we will get more of those for different reasons, right? So if you are looking for a gold cab, whatever's left in stock is kind of what you get for now. So keep that in mind. So if you are looking to pick one up at the sale price, especially still going, now is the time. Are there new skins? I will never, ever reveal new skins ahead of time. Ever. I say that now. I'll watch. There comes a time when I do. If there's new skins coming, they have not been announced. So take that with a grain of salt, how you will. Are there going to be some big retro announcements this year? Of course, there's always going to be big retro announcements throughout the year. It's an arcade console. What would I be without some good retro in here too? However, Hypoxia 2, it's not retro, but it's a retro throwback, right? So keep that in mind too. These are good games. Just because you might not be familiar with them does not mean it's a bad game. Yes, you want those big brand name titles? I got you. Don't you worry. I hear you. Think we don't see this all the time? Yeah. For 2 years. Again, things take time. Licensing takes time. We can't talk about certain deals that we just can't talk about yet. So things are planned, things are in motion that we just can't talk about for a long time. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 2 years, almost sometimes. That does happen. Weirdly enough, for one reason or another. Every game is different. Every license is different and unique. Every deal is handcrafted. Let's put it that way. What else is going on in my chat? Yeah, I know it's New Year. New Year, lots of questions at the beginning of the year too. Let's see. Sorry, it's going through 3 different chats at the same time. I do apologize. Is Ninja Baseball Batman waiting for 4-player before it's released? I do like your thinking there, Bill. So Wild Bill, it's good thinking. Not necessarily, though. There's Ninja Baseball Batman is, it has to go through its cycle just like everything else of approvals and things like that, too. So very specific games like that do take a little bit more time for a multitude of reasons, right? So especially when they're rare and unique games like that. So think about the fact that there's, 46 arcade machines that were ever produced for the U.S. for that game, I believe. So, yeah, not a lot of boards to pull from, huh? This is a great question by KevGret. So KevGret's asking, Michael, what do you hope to achieve by the end of Q1? What do I hope to achieve is different than what is realistic for me to achieve. And as a producer, I know these things all too well. It always takes, out business and taking risks and things like that too. We have to always take that into account. Finances and everything comes into play. What's on the market for games, what we can and cannot produce, what we can and cannot do with the team size, what's realistic for my software development team to do on top of everything else right now, right? So what do I hope to achieve by the end of Q1? Well, there's a couple things. Without giving things away too, right? So we talked about in Q4 the release of light guns as well as other things coming soon, right? The accessories and stuff still out there, as well as 4-player online. We've announced that we're planning to get to. You're going to see that stuff first and foremost. So we're going to get that out to you still as soon as possible. Heavy bet you'll see a lot of that light guns and things in Q1, early Q1, honestly. Don't hold me necessarily to that, but yes, that's the plan. So Q1, you will more than likely see your light gun fix for Operation Wolf out there, along with some 4-player online and potentially other things going down with accessories and things. But yeah, things take time. That's a lot right there, honestly, especially for us. There's a lot of software and back-end things that you guys don't see that goes into that. To make this plug and play the way that we would like it to be it's unique and something that is sort of proprietary to us, the way that we do it and the methods that we use. We sort of, you don't want to reinvent the wheel because others have done it before, but you do want to improve the wheel. So that's kind of a better way of looking at it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what we do with those sort of systems. So we're working on that, back-end things. And of course, Q1, that's probably what you're looking at for Q1 is really like getting the stuff that's been slated and just hasn't been released yet. It's Q1. That's probably more what you're looking at, and that's definitely the goal to achieve that. And realistically, we'll achieve that. Will we announce anything else in Q1? Stay tuned on that. But yeah, I would say to get sort of what's been talked about before out there is the plan right now too. Minus the new UI. I'm not going to talk about that today, but you will see some talk of the new UI coming up in the future. Will it be Q1? Q2? Maybe. But so Q1 planning ahead. It's more, let's get the stuff out there that we've talked about already, right? So we talked about this a little bit in Q4, the end of Q4 in December and things like that too. There's a lot of things on our end that after 2 years of making and creating stuff and putting in these new systems and placing stuff too, we need to go back and refine a little bit, touch up on them, fix some stuff. Let's get them working and harnessed in a little bit better, even more so than they already are. So that's, as well as, those online features and things too that we've talked about. So yeah, I don't want to add a lot of new stuff right now. We can't just keep adding new stuff. We need to go back and revisit some of the stuff and improve that first and foremost, right? I think that's a better plan for us. I think that's, and of course you'll still see some new stuff with that. But yeah, it's more what you're looking at for early Q1, kind of Q2 times. Yep. Do you guys do anything at CES this year? Yeah, so no, we talked about this at the beginning. Yeah, so last year we showed up, we had our nice booth and stuff. I don't know if I have my picture anymore with CES. I do. There you go. So this was us at CES last year at our big booth. We had 12 machines on there with their own screens and things showing off and everything. So this is when we were showing off gold last year. So that was our CES last year. So CES is more meant for newer hardware. It's less about software, more about hardware or a vessel to show off that software, if you will, right? So that's why we didn't do CES this year. There was just no point. There's no real reason for us to go this year to attend unless there were other things that we were looking to do. We did have people from the company there, however, for networking purposes and things like that too. I didn't personally go this year, but we did have other people there from the company, higher up in things too. So, I'm pretty high up in the company, I guess, at this point, sure. But there were other people besides me there at CES this year. But yeah, no announcements for CES from us just because we didn't really have any new hardware to announce for you. So we'll have our own announcements coming up shortly here anyway. So not today. But yeah, that's really why we didn't go to CES this year too. We'll probably hit up some other expos later on this year too. We usually do. So I like to go to some of the smaller ones and some of the bigger ones too. I like my smaller ones. They treat me like royalty, and we have a good time every time. The fans are just very different. It's good. It's less businessy, more gamer side of things for me when I get to go to the smaller ones, especially. So I like going to smaller expos outside of the big ones. I've been treated enough by AAA, working in AAA for a long time, to I've been to the big expos enough. Did I get a new haircut? No, this is my hair growing out. Operation Wolf. Coming soon. Stay tuned. Not today. Not going to get your hopes up. Where's Zhang? My good pals over at Squashable Games. Shout out to them. I'm waiting on your game too. Zhang is here. He is not here today. He is not in my office today, I should say. But yeah, no, Zhang is back. He's in the country. He's here. He's in the U.S. He's back home. So you'll see him very shortly. Maybe next week. We'll find out. See if he wants to pop on with my ugly mug next week. I asked him today. He's a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. I had to do the stream. He wasn't required to, so here we are. I guess I didn't have to do the stream today. I like to do the streams. Gordon Lemon. How's that hockey coming along? Stay tuned. My answer is always, I know you want hockey. We've talked about hockey for like a year and a half now. Hockey is surprisingly an interesting thing to license, oddly enough. There's not a lot of hockey games compared to other sports, for one. And the ones that your options are limited enough there. And yeah, there's other things that come into play with hockey. Weirdly enough, surprisingly, like it's interesting that I too thought that I would actually have a hockey game that would have been released by now, for sure. Let's see. Why are people asking about a haircut? No, I didn't get a new haircut. This is my hair growing out after a haircut for like a month now. Maybe we'll grow the stash back this year. Who knows? How many people are on the software team? So I don't like to reveal the size of my teams necessarily, right? So not a lot, though. Not a lot. There's definitely not a lot. And do they handle games as well as the store UI? Yeah, so kind of a mix of everything. We are still a startup. We're 2 years in now, right? So we're still a startup, I would say. Still kind of coming out of the tail end of it for sure. So about 3 years, I'll call us not a startup probably at that point. That's usually the goal. However, so small team, everybody does wear a lot of hats, right? I wear a lot of hats. I mean, I do a lot of media and things like this on top of my normal job, right? So I'm the executive producer and direct the company. However, on top of that, I directly deal with all of our games developers as well, too. So even though we do have head of licensing who does that stuff, I do help him out as well. And I talk and deal directly with our developers and porting the games onto our system. Beyond that, the arcade games, specifically, we do all those in-house. Yes, that's all done with our own team. And sometimes we do port certain games, right? Like Dragon's Lair was a port done in-house. Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace were done all by our own team, not by Digital Leisure. It's, they hand us the files and we take care of that on our end, and then we get them approved. Same thing with like Space Invaders Infinity Gene was done in-house. A couple of other titles too are ported over by us. So we do some porting. Sometimes we make some games too that you guys just might not know it. But yeah, so we do all that in-house. UI and everything, yep, it's all done. It's all here. And that does pull from my other resources, yes. So certain things do pull from my resources in good and bad ways, right? It's always push-pull. It's my job to decide where we allocate those resources, so that's part of my job too. So we do a pretty good job of that, and I try not to stress people out too much, I do like people to thrive and not, hate their life coming into work every day is usually my goal as a leader of the teams, right? So so take that with a grain of salt. I try not to crack my whip if I don't have to. So sometimes you have to, but yeah. So UI is taken care of by same teams that do like launcher. That has to go into the launcher itself too. That you'll see the game's launcher right down the screen. So that's UI is done simultaneously and cohesively with that too. Things like online play, they're all kind of meshed in together. So that's why our teams kind of work very heavily together. That's why it's an integrated ecosystem, if you will, for a console. Let's see here. I can't answer this question, but I do like this question a lot. I'll take this question. I'll take this one at least. So Backward Bob is asking, since the Sinden is like a mouse, sort of, can more games be compatible, like Cabal? Potentially, right? These are things that we're looking into. I'm not making you zero promises on this 100% right now. However, these are, of course, things that we look into, right? You're like, oh, this controller acts this way. Can we also use it for this game, right? It makes sense to think that way. It's very smart to think that way. Of course, we're going to utilize these features for as many games as humanly possible for us, or digitally possible, whatever you want to say. Yeah, so stay tuned on that. Nothing's announced for that. Sinden guns, while they do sort of act as a mouse, the camera mouse it's a different beast entirely. It runs drivers that we've, had to sort of utilize that they've put open source for Android for us to use on our system because we're an Android-based operating system, right? So that's kind of how that works. So it doesn't work the same. It's not recognized quite as a mouse, even though you'd think it would be. Very similar, yes, very similar. So kind of all depends. Depends on the controller, depends on the game. Every game is unique and different too, especially when you're talking about old school arcade games. They just don't want to play nice sometimes, and there's not a whole lot you can do with that necessarily. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. That's why we try not to make promises on that kind of stuff until it's done, until we know that it's working and in a state where we can show it off. That's when we'll talk about that kind of stuff. Portland Retro Gaming Expo, Randy Taylor's asking here. Maybe, I don't know. Nothing planned on the horizon currently for that, but maybe. Stay tuned on that. I'm not against it. I do like to go to these expos. I have a good time. Just to hang out and pal around and show off the machines to people, have a good time with people. It's always a good time going to the expos. I'm usually the one who gets to go to the expos, which is good and bad because I have to set up and plan for everything. Travel takes a lot of my time. But I like doing it. I like to get out there with the community and have a good time with everybody too. And a lot of you guys show up to a lot of these expos, so we'll see. We'll see about the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, potentially. But no plan as is. I'd like to go to PAX this year, honestly. PAX is my favorite. In case you've never been to the Penny Arcade Expo. Plus, I stay along with Penny Arcade Comics for a long time now, for 2 decades almost. at CES, but E3 announcements. Who knows? Stay tuned. It makes sense for us to announce during those times. However, we don't necessarily have to play ball with that either, right? So we are our own individual company. We don't necessarily announce things around this time. So temper your expectations. Temper your, thinking about things. We do our releases strategically as well. And if it doesn't strategically work out around those times, that's just what it is, right? So sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. Keep that in mind. We have done E3 in the past, though, yes. Let me see here. What other questions can I get to today? Let's see here. You see. Gosh, there's so many questions in the chat now, too, and I got to pick. I don't like it. Trust me, yes, I know all of these hockey games that you guys like to list off. Don't you worry. And we've talked to a lot of them. Stay tuned. Doesn't mean that we have them. Doesn't mean that we don't have them licensed. Things are always far trickier than you can ever imagine for one reason or another. Can never be easy. They never like to make my life easy sometimes. One day. Let me see here. Other questions on games especially that we have on the system. I can definitely talk about that on Gamedaze. Let's see here. Tim's asking, Tim Steiny Arcade. Shout out to Tim Steiny Arcade. I like his videos too. I noticed a few games like Motor Race USA and Pomp Flamer got online leaderboards recently. Any other older games get new leaderboards? Stay tuned on that too. There's some. Again, we always try to like to add them as we retroactively as we can. I mean, we've got over at least 100 plus games now with leaderboards and things like that too. Got almost 70 games online, at least 100 plus with leaderboards right now too, if not like more towards 150, 200 sounds about right. But yeah, for the arcade games, right? So because we do take care of the arcade specific games on our side of things. So we do retroactively add them sometimes too. Sometimes they kind of sneak past me or I forget about them, honestly. But yeah, so those have them in there right now too. Most launch with it. It just depends on if the file type exists. Again, some of these arcade games are not the easiest to open up and get the scores from because they don't produce certain file types, or they just don't let you into those files when you know where you're looking for. They just don't like you to look into them, and then you corrupt the game and it goes all weird. That does happen too. Such is the life of leaderboards, right? So it's hard to add new features like online and leaderboards to games that just never had them originally. It can be difficult sometimes. So every game's unique and different. The ones that we have, they run certain file types, but yeah. So we always work to do workarounds and things like that. Yep, it's all on the docket. Let's see here. Saturn Deluxe will be a top 20 game once it's released. We never announced Saturn Deluxe. Never have I ever talked about that game. But I do know that game. It's a good game. It's a very good arcade style game. Kind of fits up there with Galacticon, Dota, those kind of things. Yep. Just in its own sort of right. All right. What other questions? We'll take a couple more questions and then we'll be done for the day. We've been spouting on for long enough too. Kept you guys here long enough just because it's the first term of the year. We got a lot of questions going on too. Covered enough topics. You see here. Ooh, Brenobi 2. Question, how many 4-player games have been released? So, tricky question. So 4-player online has not been released yet. It is still being worked on and should be coming out shortly. In the next system update and stuff, it's currently on the forefront, along with light guns and things like that. So that's presently being worked on right now too. It's pretty much done. It's still going through some testing. How many 4-player games are there for online? So nothing currently, I should say. Nothing currently. However, how many will there be on launch? A good handful. I don't promise an exact number right now, too. We have shown off the Ninja Kids for 4-player as well as Night Slashers for 3-player. So those two are guaranteed on day one for 4-player online will be compatible with 2 different machines, right? So wherever you are in the world. So yep. So the Ninja Kids, and for 4-player as well as 3-player for Night Slashers. There you go. There are more than that. I'm just not going to talk about them right now. Sleepy Fluid. It's a great question for me on Gamedaze. Let's see. If you have 10 minutes to game, what is your go-to game? Let me see if I'm keeping on our platform. Ooh. So it was Congo Bongo for a long time because I'm an absolute glutton for punishment in that game still. It was Truxton then for a while too, after that too. Man. Actually, it'd probably still be one of those, honestly, if I was to be honest with you. I like playing my own sort of nostalgia games too, right? If I had 10 minutes to play outside of that, though, I mean, Galacticon's still up there for me too. I'll play some Galacticon or Donut Dodo as well. Those are big on my list still. And I don't get as much playtime anymore, but those are still up there as well too. I would go with Galacticon, honestly. It's a good question. There's a lot of games. I got over 300 games here to like play around with in my head too, because I know all my titles. Ooh, Rising Hell. Not if I'm going 10 minutes, because if I'm playing Rising Hell, I'm getting sucked into it for at least an hour or two, I guarantee it. It's been a bit since I've touched Rising Hell, though. I should go back to that soon. Let's see here. Showed up as unregistered on my gold cab. Yeah, just send a message with your device ID on that cabinet straight to contact@iiRcade.com. We can get that fixed on our end. It's an easy fix for us. We can do that quick. Something that is being addressed in a software update too, coming down the road too. I know that keeps happening with some newer cabs, especially as you add them. It's an interesting thing going on there, but we can fix that, yes. It's quick. We just need your device ID for the unregistered. Mysterious Stones. Ooh, that's a good game too. Mysterious Stones to strike that Indiana Jones fix. Casey, King Creole's asking, are there plans to feed leaderboard results to the websites? There's always plans for these kind of features. Stay tuned. Or maybe seeing them in a different way on the machine, right? What about that? Not just online. Just saying. Again, these are extra features. These are what I would consider extra things right now too, so we can't quite get to them at the moment. However, are they on the plans? Stay tuned on that. Of course, those are things that we think about all the time. All the time. I have to, again, it's my job to, one, risk management, but beyond that, decide what takes priority and what we need first and foremost. Yep. There are outside projects, too, that we just haven't talked about yet going on at all times that we just can't quite announce yet, too, so take everything with a grain of salt. We've already talked about Operation Wolf and Light Guns, so I'm kind of done talking about that. Watch it on the replay if you're asking questions about that stuff. Talked about it twice now. New gold cam shows up on Tuesday. Congrats. I'm excited. Let's see. What other questions can I take? I'll take 2 more questions before we call it a day. We've been rambling on for 45 minutes now. I'm good. Let's see here. Let me see here. We need leaderboards for Donnie, maybe. Again, not every game qualifies for leaderboards. There's specific things about it. We try. Doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It's just we need time to develop our own workaround for that kind of stuff. Certain ones we already have, as we mentioned before, right, with Motor Race USA and stuff. All right. Is that pretty much it? Am I good? You guys get air conditioning yet? Yeah, our office is strikingly always freezing. The one time that we host an event here, of course, during a weekend is when they shut it off. So, yeah. Don't worry, we have another event. If we have another event, I should say. We have another event. I just don't want to host it. I want to do it at a different venue. Just so I don't have to do everything myself. I say that I'm still going to have to do plenty of things to plan and prep for those things, but anyway. All right. What other kind of things can I answer in this chat too? I'll take 2 more actual questions too. Can't talk about games I can't talk about. New skins for the music player. Jukebox. Jukebox is what you're talking about. Potentially down the road. Yeah, we talked about that. It's just not on the current. We haven't announced anything for it or anything like that. Yeah, so stay tuned on that kind of stuff. Things we thought about, of course, though. Yep. Jukebox technically still in beta, so that was an extra feature added after the Kickstarter that wasn't quite met, but we were nice enough to give that for you anyway. Yeah, because we had the time to develop that. So yeah. And I know people always ask me about Jukebox playing in the background during games while they're running too. Yeah. So we see all that stuff. All right. One more question. What did I miss in this chat here too? I always miss so many questions. I do apologize. We don't always see every question too. I watch the replays sometimes later on and I see all these questions. I'm like, that's a really good question. How did I miss that? And it just doesn't pop up sometimes. We'll see. Maybe we use different software later on in the future. Let's see. We've talked about new UI a little bit already too. I don't want to go over that question again because we've already talked about that. You can spin back to the replay a little bit here. How far out? How far out is that? I'll make no promises. I wanted it last year, honestly. Realistically, sometime this year. So there you go. That's about as much as I can give you, sometime this year. And we talked about online global lobby system before too. Talked about that. Again, these are additional features that we definitely have planned and want to get to, but we need to, it's bigger fish to fry first and foremost. Let me see here. And of course, we want to beef up those online features. Online still stayed in alpha a little bit longer than I wanted it to. Should roll over to beta sometime soonish. But yeah, so online ecosystem stuff is something that is definitely things that we are looking forward to later on this year. All right. What other questions have I missed here in the chat too? One more question. I'll take one more question, put it in the chat, put some asterisks or question marks or something in front of it so I can actually visibly see it because there's a lot going on in my chats. I watch 3 different feeds. You guys watch 1. So yeah. Okay. I'm just going to start soft banning people for Operation Wolf things because we've talked about it twice already. You don't have to watch the replays. I'm so sorry. All right. That's it. We're good. I'll go on this. I think that's it. And then I'm going to get 20 questions the moment that I say that I'm ending. This always happens. Every single time, I swear. Okay. I'll take one more. Oh. Jean Paul gets pushed back 2 more weeks now. Thank you, Squash Wars Games. Yes, the initial release date of Zhongpong is, who knows? Maybe I'll just release it as is one day and just just ghost shadow drop it on you guys for Zhongpong and just be like, here you go. It is what it is. And then that's it. People have played Zhongpong. It exists. Billy Rangel has been to the office a few times and he has played it with his family. He knows it actually does exist in some state, a playable state. So my office mates do know it does exist in one form or another. Some of you at Game and Brew Nights do know it exists. Ban you. Yes, I'm not going to ban you right now, of course. Let's see here. One more thing. You guys are asking so much of me for a new year. Let me tell you what here. Nope. I'm not going to do one more thing today. Sort of. However, we'll call the show there for sure too. I'm not going to one more thing you. I don't have Zhang here, so I can't just can't do it. Just can't do it without my main man Zhang. I need my CEO in the office to do this properly. So I'm not going to do it. However, we will show off one more thing. Something that is newer to the system, right? That hasn't really been announced yet. We've potentially talked about this in the past, I think. However, we have not actually ever formally announced anything about it. But we'll show it off a little bit here. Let's see here. If I can ever find my videos, I swear to you. Anyhow, thanks everybody again for tuning in. Stay tuned for actual stuff coming up later on this year. Besides, Hypoxia 2 is on the store today for $9.99. Pick it up. It's a great game. Both a vertical and horizontal shmup with tons and tons of gameplay. It does have twin stick options as well too for controls, as well as button controls that are standard for it. So play it the way that you want. It's a great soundtrack. So much content in that game too. Highly suggested if you like shoot 'em ups and you haven't checked it out before. It's a great game. So thanks again. We will get to more news later on. Stay tuned this year. So there's plenty coming up. And of course, we've talked about other features that are still in the works right now currently, light guns, accessories, and 4-player online. So we'll get that to you coming up soon enough here. I know soon enough's not soon enough. I know. I swear if I get like a fry from Futurama posting, I swear. Anyway, thanks again. We will see you all next week because next week we're going to show off this right here. Thanks again.